Welcome to this segment on volunteer recruitment and retention for emergency services. The material in this program was developed to address the current problems and look at several solutions that have been tried and were successful regarding volunteer recruitment and retention in the emergency services. Recruitment and retention is a local problem and has to be addressed at that level. All the suggestions in this program will not be applicable to every department. Study the local problem and apply those recommendations that will be most helpful in your situation. We encourage you to contact the U.S. Fire Administration and obtain a copy of the text Volunteer Recruitment and Retention for the Emergency Services, which is the core document used in this program. This program was developed by VFIS for the National Volunteer Fire Council and the United States Fire Administration. The objectives of this program are to provide a basic understanding of how to find and motivate people to volunteer for your organization. Then, keep them once they have joined. The three key points to remember are: recruitment and retention is a local problem. The leadership, needs, and challenges are all local. Second, recruitment is marketing. When do you market? All the time. And third, benefit programs require you to know what the members want before it becomes an incentive. A large portion of the population is protected by volunteer organizations. If this ceases due to the inability to recruit new volunteers, the cost will be enormous. Many communities lack the taxing power and budgets to provide adequate service without volunteers. The effects on the loss to a community can extend beyond the purely fiscal. The emergency services need to attack the problem before it becomes overwhelming. There are a number of reasons that people no longer volunteer for service organizations. It is clear that one of the big obstacles to recruitment and retention is communications. We must be able to communicate the recruitment problem and answer prospective member questions clearly. This list identifies many of the reasons people indicate as the cause of their no longer volunteering. The reality is that you are competing for volunteer talent with other organizations. Fire service volunteer expectations are more demanding than other volunteer systems, such as nursing homes, YMCAs, youth sport teams, and so on, making it more challenging for emergency service groups to recruit members. Make it clear to possible members what your organization does and that there are many non-emergency roles where they could be of great assistance. The public often does not realize that it's protected by a volunteer organization, and as a result, you must tell them that you are a volunteer organization and tell them how they can help. As a recruiter, an emergency service organization must be able to overcome the objections and barriers, such as time demands, training requirements, the risk posed, increasing call volumes, and changes in service system and the nature of the business of a volunteer emergency service group. Leaders with experience in human relations seem to be able to retain volunteers the best. This does not mean being a softie is good leadership. What it entails is communication up and down the chain of command, listening to other suggestions, being fair and honest with all members, and creating a team atmosphere within the department. The bottom line is recruitment and retention is a local problem. The needs, leadership, and challenges are all local. Emergency services are like cultures, and we know that cultures become extinct if they don't adapt. Two noted scientists' research validates this. Dr. Jared Diamond cites there are 5 components to collapse or failure. They include climate change, hostile neighbors, trade patterns or alternative sources of goods, environmental problems, and society's response to environmental problems. Each society and the volunteer fire service will choose to succeed or fail. Dr. Robert Putnam warns that our stock of social capital, the very fabric of our connections with each other, has plummeted, impoverishing our lives and communities. More Americans are bowling than ever before, but they are not bowling in leagues. Putnam, in his text, shows how changes in work, family structure, age, suburban life, television, computers, women's roles, and other factors have contributed to this decline in bowling together, which he then relates to volunteerism. He specifically cites deterioration in the number of volunteer firefighters and relates it back to these concepts. Our first category to concentrate on is recruitment. When it comes to recruitment solutions, the place to start is with a needs assessment. What are the organization's needs in new members? The abilities, education, practical knowledge, mechanical skills, management and administrative expertise, support personnel, and the list goes on. A recent arrival to assist with volunteers is Citizens Corps, sponsored by the federal government. The National Volunteer Fire Council is heavily involved in this effort through Fire Corps and serves as an excellent reference for your use. Recruitment is marketing and selling the organization to prospective members. Your organization should be marketing every day, building its credibility and public image. Again, this is an area where planning is vital. It might be advisable to recruit someone in marketing or public relations to assist with the department's marketing program. Get some help if you need it. We must do a better job of recruiting, so pull out all the stops. Recruitment is a 24/7 assignment, 365 days a year. All members of the organization must be constantly on the alert for a good new member. This may be a family member, business associate, friend from church, or the new people on the block. Never miss a chance to recruit a new member. Be ready to talk about the department and the opportunity to serve the community by volunteering. Research has found that if you implement an everyone get one membership program, you will be able to sustain your membership over time. In your recruitment planning session, determine what membership your organization is looking to recruit. Some options include an administrator, an accountant and auditor, a financial advisor, someone with legal background, human resource expertise, clerical skills, fundraising knowledge and expertise, someone who is good with customers, someone who can write grants, a computer expert to keep you up and running, someone who is able to design graphics, people who can educate others in fire prevention programs or fire and education activities. Maybe a safety professional could serve as your safety officer. Public relations and public information officers can come from those with communication expertise. And what about people with skills in facility and equipment maintenance? Oh yeah, and don't forget, you need people who want to be firefighters and EMTs. A good source of new recruits is from department-sponsored youth groups. There are several programs in place today. The Boy Scouts of America have a popular Explorer program for introducing the fire service to young people. York County, Pennsylvania, has their own organization and website at www.ycjrffa.org. On the website for VFIS, www.vfis.com, under Downloads, one can find a Junior Fire and Emergency Service program to assist you with starting a youth group. We also encourage you to check NVFC at www.nvfc.org and search for Junior Firefighter programs. There are a number of special groups that can be targeted for recruiting. Each of these will have special interests that need to be addressed in the recruiting process. Decide in advance those groups that you are going to approach and plan your process to attack the group. Do your homework in advance and be ready to answer the questions that will arise from the particular audience that you will be approaching. Earlier, we mentioned Fire Corps. The mission of Fire Corps is to enhance the ability of fire departments to utilize citizen advocates and provide individuals with opportunities to support their local fire department with their time and talent. There are various ways to coordinate the recruiting efforts. However, all members should be involved. The individual can be assigned the overall responsibility or a committee. In some cases, a joint recruiting effort can be of benefit. There can also be promotions from the higher county level, while there are individual organization marketing programs. In some cases, costs may be shared for printing or posters used in the recruiting drive. Don't forget to use PSAs, public service announcements, on local radio stations. Historically, face-to-face communication has been one of the best and most productive recruiting methods. When members meet an individual with the traits or talents that the organization is seeking, recruiting should begin. Show your pride in the department and offer an invitation to visit the station. Another great example comes from New York, where the Firemen's Association of the state of New York has produced recruiting materials for its membership to use locally to enhance recruitment activities. Outside signs placed at fire stations or along high-traffic roadways can assist in getting the word to the public that the organization needs additional volunteer members. Make them big, bright, and eye-catching. A contact method is helpful for those interested. Signs can be placed on billboard or buses to acquire a wider public viewing audience. Be innovative and get the word out. Do a group think tank session if necessary to foster new ideas, and think outside the box. Departments should plan informational nights at the fire station on a regular basis to answer the questions of prospective volunteers. Give an overview of the department, the opportunities, the benefits, and the membership requirements. Help them decide if volunteering is right for them. This visual lists some of the facts about the typical volunteer. An application process is necessary for each new member. This enables you to follow up on initial contacts, follow up after acceptance, and for the member exit process. In addition, there is a need to conduct background investigations on new members to assure you are embracing membership of a person who meets the ethical, moral, and legal expectations of an emergency responder. There are several roadblocks to recruiting, and there may be some specific to a locale. Generally, the fire service is looked upon as a white, macho male closed fraternity. This problem needs to be attacked in all organizations. As has been discussed earlier, there are many other individuals who can be a valuable asset to the department. Training needs to be delivered in acceptable timeframes and on schedules the new members can meet. Perhaps there needs to be specialists rather than all generalists. Residency requirements need to be reviewed. Response time is the critical issue. In-station duty may be the answer for those who live a distance from the station. Other solutions include assistance in obtaining nearby housing or a live-in program for single members. Tenure is similar to a commitment agreement and asks the new recruit to join for an allotted time period, usually a maximum of 2 years. The second topic of discussion is member retention. Motivating people is based on the leader's ability to sell him or herself to others. The leader's goals and vision of where the organization is going must be accepted. This basically means that the boss and the workers are pulling together on the same team. To reach this point, the goals and vision must be enthusiastically accepted by all. This is why leadership is all important. The leader sets the goals, hopefully with the help of others, and then motivates the members to buy in to going forth and to attain them through a set of measurable objectives. The best way to retain members is to lead them in a positive direction. Listen to them, work with them, never use them. Be fair to all. Keep them interested by communicating with them. Keep them informed of the plans and direction of the organization. Keep them feeling needed and appreciated. Manage your personnel. Don't extinguish the enthusiasm they had as new members. It is important to get everyone involved. The key is matching the talents of the individual to the tasks assigned and not over or under burdening anyone. Remember, members want to feel needed and then appreciated. By all means, do not set anyone up to fail. To the contrary, set everyone up to succeed. The objective is for the organization to move forward, not be stymied having to redo a poorly assigned task. The challenge is not so much finding ways of providing members a chance to participate and achieve, as it is fitting the challenge to the individual so they feel a sense of achievement. This visual provides some hints to assist in motivating people. Make timely decisions. Do not procrastinate. Give feedback to keep tasks going in the direction you desire and correct any deviations. Face problems directly and come to fair and just resolutions for the good of all. Communicate. Listen and direct. Keep your people informed of what you expect and want. Be open to suggestions and recommendations. Always be truthful and sincere in your comments. And don't forget to say thank you and praise your people. Give some attaboys and stick up for your people. The bottom line is to have your people make you look good. This all leads to easier retention. The list on this visual is self-explanatory. These are the traits of a good leader. A good leader is a motivator. You let people know they are appreciated and working in the right direction, while not boring them to death or micromanaging them. Sometimes people have to learn the hard way, and leaders have to let them. Not following the motivator list will lead to retention problems. There are several pitfalls to having a cohesive organization. Many are listed on the visual. Watch for these trouble signs and stop them before they become a problem. Not handling these problems at an early stage will drive people out of the department. Everyone must be on the same team working for the common good of the community. That is why they volunteered. Retention practices start with having department standards. Standards can also be used to develop the administrative requirements for the organization. It is important today that departments have standard operating procedures, standard operating guidelines, rules and regulations, and numerous policies written down and disseminated to the membership. This alleviates questions and ignorance of how the department will be governed and run. Image is important in recruiting. No one wants to belong to an unkept or sloppy organization. This means that members and apparatus must appear clean and orderly at all times. This may require a policy on dress or appearance. Members need to remember that they represent the organization even when off-duty. Signs posted at the limits of your jurisdiction can provide information to the public. When the public dials 911, they do not ask if the organization is career or volunteer. All they want is a professional response. Often, they must be told it's a volunteer department providing service to them. Working with local politicians is critical in a variety of areas and will vary in differing locales. The department may have to interface with local, municipal, township, county, state, or provincial or federal politicians. It is important to keep them informed of what you are doing and the particular needs, especially funding, that they can influence. The emergency services and their extended families can be a large and powerful voting bloc. Although it may not be wise to back a particular candidate in an election, it can be necessary. However, being hospitable and fair to all, for example, using the station for meetings or debates, will be very beneficial in the long run. This is also another way of serving the community. Voting in fire stations can also bring in possible recruits. Recruitment, orientation, training, and equipping are expensive. Members' time is costly. Having and being a volunteer is costly, in many ways, to all involved. To ease the burden on members, find out their expectations. Try to meet reasonable desires. However, be honest. Some may not be within the organization's scope to meet, but communicate this when it happens so individuals are not left with false hopes. In today's culture, it appears that most volunteers would prefer some type of monetary reward or incentive. These can be either direct monetary payments, presently or in the future, or an indirect payment through other means. One must be cautious that whatever you do regarding financial reimbursements or payments, that they be consistent with local and state regulations. These will be discussed in the next few visuals. Direct incentives provide some type of payment to the individual. As noted in the visual, these can be immediate, annual, or after some length of service. Often the concept of a supplemental retirement program to older members assists in retention. Younger members are more interested in an immediate return. More and more areas are looking at ways to make direct financial returns to volunteers through tax methods. This helps defray the costs of volunteering and provides some return for the time demand. Any type of payment that works for a department is welcomed by the membership. There are many ways to say thanks and you are appreciated to volunteers. Peer group recognition and sharing that the family, friends, and the public can be very important. Highlighting an individual in the department newsletter or local paper, especially with a photo, will recognize good work and effort. Pictures are always a good way to praise people. In some states and provinces, outstanding effort or length of service can be recognized by state or provincial citations or medals. A professional recognition display is illustrated in this visual. Keeping members in the public eye is also good for the organization's public image and, of course, aids in recruiting. Adequate insurance must be provided for all members. Workmen's compensation insurance may be required, but may not be sufficient and will need supplementing. Assure all members are informed of the Public Safety Officer Benefit Program and when it will not cover them. If the department provides special coverages, like length of service award programs or LOSAPs, or privately owned vehicle coverage, POV coverage, this can be used as a recruiting tool. Younger members with small children should have enough insurance to provide for education if an unexpected event occurs while serving in an emergency service organization. These are all considerations to help your members and serve as both recruitment and retention tools. This Big Wheels fire truck is an example of making fire prevention fun. It's an eye catcher. It's an incentive to some, and for those who created it and maintain it, it's a retention tool. Time is one of the most important considerations when volunteering today. Family commitments have increased, both parents working, and financial demands have lessened available time for the organization. A number of alternatives are discussed in the text on how to reduce the time requirements. Ask the participants for other methods and what has or has not worked for them. Reducing the response to smells and bells or non-critical EMS calls may also be an option. Assigning shifts by a locally accepted schedule or having only specialists respond to designated calls may also help. However, it is not incident response that most complain about, but the fundraising, non-productive meetings, or unchallenging training sessions that become the problem. Review what is happening locally and see if the class participants can reach some acceptable solutions for you to implement. Leaders should think about what attracted them to the emergency services and what keeps them there. Some values have changed, but many are still the same. How can you build the pride and sense of achievement and accomplishment in your members and your organization? Ask your members for their wants and needs. Build these into your recruitment and retention programs. This slide illustrates the feeling of most volunteers. Let me know what you expect from me. Give me the opportunity to perform. Let me know how I am getting along. Assist me in areas where I need help, and recognize me for my efforts. Now, what are you doing to fulfill these needs of your members? The third aspect to consider is that of leadership. A good leader is a strategist, laying out where the organization is going. He or she then uses the personnel resources within the group effectively to reach the goals. Dictatorships and cliques do not work in the emergency services. Manage people well, and they will stay in the organization. Treat them poorly or with little respect, and retention will drop, followed by future recruitment problems. Be honest with yourself and work at being the best leader that you can be. If this means some changes are in order or a class or two on personnel skills are necessary, go for it. Know what works in your department and don't fix it if it isn't broke. Find out what members desire. Give them a strategy, perhaps tactics, to get there. Make sure it is not too easy nor too difficult. Tell them how they are progressing and where to make changes if required. Coach them along the right path to becoming an excellent volunteer. Rumors, gossip, and hearsay must be stopped as soon as possible. When incorrect statements are made or assumed, morale will suffer. A proactive internal communication system will preclude this. Use meetings, bulletin boards, newsletters, or the internet to get the official word to all the members. Remember, volunteers want to feel they belong, so they must be kept informed. The above are several of the reasons why leaders fail at communications. Avoid these pitfalls. Talk or write and listen to all the members. Communicate. Even some of the little things that don't seem important can be to the members. Keep families informed as well. This is a reaffirmation of the earlier discussion. Not all recruits have to be emergency responders. A number of administrative and maintenance tasks can be done by others. Individuals with professional skills can be very beneficial to the organization. A key concept to remember is that people want to feel needed. Make prospective recruits want to join by showing how their talents will benefit the organization. Then use their abilities for departmental growth. It is well known that the volunteer emergency services are losing numbers and new membership is sparse. There are many difficulties ahead, but a resourceful organization will find ways to overcome the problems. Think outside the box. Do good planning for resource allocation and distribution. Work with local employers for response work schedules, such as one responding between 8 and 12 and another from 1 to 5. Use discount purchasing cards or free estate planning to show appreciation. There are numerous solutions. We just need to incorporate them into our organizations. The attitude must be positive. Leaders must exert themselves, and we must all work together to maintain the proud professional volunteer service that has been aiding communities since Ben Franklin started it all in 1736. In closing this segment, remember the 3 key points regarding recruitment and retention. First, recruitment and retention is a local problem. The leadership, needs, and challenges are all local. Second, recruitment is marketing. And when do you market? All the time. And third, benefit programs require you to know what the members want before it becomes an incentive. And remember, leadership is critical to affecting all three of these key points.